Hi, Tim Unkert here. In this video, we're going to figure out the interquartile range of a data set using Python. But first, if you like videos about tech, coding, and math, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications as it really helps the channel grow. If you've done so already, thank you. Okay, so normally I might pull up a draw island and show you something about quartiles, but I want to show you a website that I referred to when I was a math teacher quite often, and that is Math is Fun. And they have an example of finding the quartiles. So you'll see here that the we have a small little data set, and we have quartile 1, which is the lower quartile, quartile 3, which is the upper quartile. One way we can think about this is if we have a list of numbers, we split the list in half, and the median of the lower list is going to be quartile 1, and the median of the higher list is going to be quartile 2. Okay? So this is a list of 7 numbers, so we'd take the middle number out of the list, and then we'd have the lower list here, find the median of that, the lower list here, find the median of that. Okay, so that's an odd example. Here we have an even example where we just cut the list in half, and the lower quartile is the median, again, of the lower list. The upper quartile is the median of the higher list. Okay, now if we go down further on this page, you'll see that it explains that the interquartile range is quartile 3 minus quartile 1. So in our first example that they gave, you take Q3, which is 7, minus Q1, which is 4, and you get interquartile range of 3. Now, why is interquartile range important? Well, one reason I can think of is if you want to know where the middle 50% of the data lies, right? But you also can use it with a 1.5 IQR rule to determine outliers. Okay, so if you're wondering if a data point is defined as an outlier, you'll need to know the interquartile range. Today we're just going to, in this video, we're just going to try and find the interquartile range in a Python program. Okay, so I'm going to pull up a text editor. I'm going to use Emacs with Doom 1 theme installed since it's October 2nd, the Halloween month. And let's pull up Dear Ed, and let me now go down to my Python programs directory, and I'm going to create a file, and let's call the file interquartile underscore range underscore YouTube.py. Okay. And now I'm using just the regular Emacs key bindings, not evil mode, because we're not that close to Halloween just yet, but we're getting there. Okay. All right. So first thing that I want to do is we want to get this list. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say, we're going to have a variable called more items. Okay. And that's going to initially equal yes. And I'm going to say while more underscore items, that's double equals yes. Okay. While that's true, we want to say that the next underscore item is, or next underscore, let's call it next underscore data point to be specific. And we're going to have an integer of the input. What is the next data value you wish to enter in the data list? That's a little bit of a long line, but okay. And then, what we need is we need to have an empty list. Okay, so we need to have the data list, right? Okay, so the data list is going to be an empty list here. All right. And we're going to go down here. And what we're going to do is we are going to now put this next data point into the data list. And the way we do that with Python is data underscore list dot append, and then we pass in the next data point. Okay. All right. So we're now adding that to the list. Okay, but we don't want this to be an infinite loop and more items equals y. So we have to keep checking after we add an item. So we're going to say more items equals input. And actually, I'm going to put this in parentheses. I'll show you why in a moment. Input. Do you want to enter another data value into the list? Okay. And the reason why I'm doing this is I'm going to just use the lower method because we'll give them the option of y or n, but if they enter, like, for instance, let me just go ahead here, and if they enter like a capital Y, that'll still work. Okay. All right. Now we're not doing exception handling yet with this program. You could make it better by doing that if you wanted to. All right, so that should be good for our while loop. And what we're going to have to do before we get started is we're going to have to take this data list and sort it. So we're going to use the sort method. Okay, and then okay, and then what we need to do is we're going to need to have some functions. Okay, so I'm going to test out these functions as we go. So we'll have this one called lower median, or no, actually let's call it what it is, q underscore 1. That's going to equal, let's have a function, let's call it lower median. We'll have to write that function and we'll pass in the data list, and that function is going to return the first quartile. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we have to have that function, and so I'm going to create a function lower underscore median, and we're going to take in the data list, and then we're going to do some things. Okay, so what we need to do is determine if the data list, if it's even or odd. Okay. So let's set a variable is even. No, let's not do that yet. Actually, let's say if the length of the data list modulo 2, if that equals 0, right? So that's an even list. Well, then we'll say is even equals true. Okay. So we're using a little bit of we got to put capitals, true. Okay. And then else is underscore even equals false. Okay. All right. So if it's even, we're going to split it right down the center. Okay. So we want to think about how we're going to do this. All right. So let's take a look at our draw island example. So even, right? So this is even. And we have 10 items in it. That means the indices in the list, since the list in Python is 0 based, would go from 0 to 9. Okay. And we want to split the lower part of the list at at 4. We go 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we're going to have to then subtract 1 from the length and divide by 2, right? Because 10 divided by 2 is 5. Or the other thing is we divide by the length by 2 and then subtract 1. But there's something come out with our for loop that we're going to do. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, we might not actually have to do that. Okay, so I'm going to take we're going to create a variable. Let's call it end of list, lower list. And that's going to equal the length of the data underscore list divided by 2. Okay. And then we're going to do a loop, a for loop. So I'm going to say for x in range, and I'm going to go from 0 to the end of the lower list. Now you may be saying, well, that's going to 5 though, right? But the way the range works is it goes up to 1 less than this number. So it's actually going to go to 4, okay? And actually, you know what? We don't even need to do that because I don't need to split into a new list. So let's scrap that, okay? So the end of the lower list is half, okay? So now what we want to do is let's make it an indice. Let's make it an indice. So we're actually going to subtract 1, right? Because, if it's a list of 10, the end of list 1 is at 4, okay? So now we want to find the indice at the quartile 1. So what quartile 1 is, what indice that is, and that's going to be in the case of even, it's going to be at indice 2. Okay, so, and we should probably put this in if is even. So what that means is if is even, if this is true, then the end of the lower list equals this, okay? And then quartile 1 index, so let's say Q underscore 1 index is going to equal the end of the lower list divided by 2. And we're going to have to wrap this as an integer because when you do division with Python, it changes it to a float, and you can't have a float as an index. Okay, so we've got that. Now, if it's not even, okay, the end of the lower list, so in this case, let's pull back our math is fun here. So we have a list of 7 items, right? So it's actually the end of the list is it's going to be 7 divided by 2, which is 3.5. Then we're going to round that down to 3, but then subtract 1 because remember we were 0 based for our list. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So what we're going to need to do that is we're going to import the math module. Okay. So we can use math.floor. All right. So what I need to do now is we're going to use math.floor. We're going to take the length of the data list, divide that by 2, and then so we're let's say it's the length of the data list is 7. Divide that by 2, we get 3.5. We're using math.floor. So we bring it down to 3. We want to subtract 1. That's going to be the end of the lower list. Okay. So it ends at 2. Okay. But now let's say it was like twice as long, or no, let's go with 15, right? So we take out the middle value, so you have 7 and 7. Um, so it would be you'd still math that floor it. Let's see. So we're at 2. Now we're going to take the Q1 index is going to equal, again, we want to make sure it's integer. And yeah, we're going to do the end of the lower list and divide by 2. That should work. Okay, and then at the end, we're going to return the Q. No, we're not going to return the Q1 index. We're going to say that quartile 1 is equal to the data list at the Q1 index. Okay, and then we're going to return quartile 1. Okay, so what I want to do now is, now that we're returning quartile 1, is I want to just print out Q1 and let's test our program and see where we're at. Okay, so I'm going to open up another window over here, and I'm going to open up, whoops, I'm not going to do that. Make sure this is saved. I'm going to open up a terminal and just term, sorry. And let's now run this program. So we'll do Python 3 interquartile underscore range underscore yt.py. Okay, so what is the next value you want to enter in the data list? So let's pick these. So we have 2 4s we have to enter. So let's do 4. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes, 4. Okay. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. Let's do 2. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. Let's do 5. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. Let's do 6. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. Let's mess it up a little bit. Let's do 8. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. Let's do 7. You wish to enter another value? No. Okay. Now it's giving me 4 as the lower quartile. So it appears to be working for odd numbers. Let's now test it with even numbers. So let's clear this out. And let's rerun it. Okay, so let's start with 5. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. Let's do 1. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. Let's do 3. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. Let's do 3 again. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. We got to do 4. So we've got the first half done. Okay. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. Let's do 8. Oops. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. Let's do 8 again. Do you wish to enter another value? Yes. So we've done 8 and 8. Let's do 6 and 6. 6. You wish to enter a value? Yes. Let's do 6. And I think the last one is 7. 7. Okay. No. Okay, so it's saying the lower quartile is 3. So it is working. The logic is working for that. Cool. All right, so I'm going to exit out of this. So we've finished our process, and let's quit out of this. And so we've got the lower quartile. So now we have to get the upper quartile, okay? And we're going to need, we're going to set a variable here, so as Q3. And we'll say that's the upper median. And we're going to pass in the data list. Okay. And we're going to go here and create a function, upper median, and pass in the data list. And we're going to use the length function again. So we'll say if length of the data list, if that modulo 2 equals 0, then is even equals true, else, and this is even variable is the scope is just the function, so we can use it there. Is even equals false. Okay. All right, so we're going to say if is even. So if is even is true. So if it's even, the, let's say, beginning of the lower list, or beginning of the upper list, rather, upper list is going to equal, well, okay, let's take a look back at math is fun here. So in this case, if we have 7 values, we divide that by 2, we're going to get 3.5, and we just use math.floor, okay? So, but that's for odd. Otherwise, we're just going to take the amount of values, divide by 2, and start there, okay? All right, so we're going to say math.floor. Oh, no, we're just going to take an integer of, actually, we don't have to do that just yet. So we're going to do the length of the data list divided by 2. Okay, we don't have to subtract 1 for an even. And then the Q underscore 3 index. Okay, so that's going to be we're going to want to, okay, so this is 9, this is 5, and we want to average them, right? So we're going to take 9 plus 5 and average them divided by 2. So we're going to take the length of the data list minus 1, right? Plus the beginning of the upper list, okay? And we're going to take those values, right? And we're going to divide them by 2. But remember, this index needs to be an integer. So we're going to make sure that this is an integer, okay? And that should give us the Q3 index if it's even. If it's odd, okay, so let's go back up. If it's odd, so the beginning of the upper list, remember we said if it's 7 items, so divided 7 by 2, the beginning of the upper list is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So we're going to use math.seal, okay? Instead of math.floor. So we'll use math.seal of the length of the data list divided by 2, okay? And then the Q3 index is going to equal well, that's going to equal, we want it as an integer, right? So it's going to equal the average again. So the length of the data list, so this is index 6 plus index 4, and so we want index 5, okay? So we're going to take the length of the data list minus 1 plus the beginning of the upper list. So this should probably be the same as this one. And okay, so that's going to give us a Q3 index, and then quartile 3 is going to equal the data underscore list at the Q3 index, and we are going to return quartile 3, okay? All right, so now if I go down, go down here, I'm now going to print quartile 3. Okay, I save that. Let's open up a separate window, and we'll go over here and run the terminal. Okay, and let's clear this out. All right, and all right, so I'm going to go and run this program again. What is the next value you want to enter into the data list? So let's do 5. What's the next value you want to enter in? Or yes, I want to enter another value. Let's do 4. Yes, I want to enter another value. Let's do 2. Yes, I want to enter another value. Let's do 4 again. Yes, I want to enter another value. Let's do 8. Yes, I want to enter another value. Let's do 6. Yes, I want to enter another value. Let's do 7. And so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. Do I want to enter another one? No. Okay, and it says that Q3 is equal to 7, which it is in this data set. Okay, so let's clear this out, and let's test now with the other values. Okay, so let's start with 8. Do I want to enter another value? Yes, let's do 1. We'll just go, yes, 8, yes, 3, yes, 7, yes, 3, okay, yes, 6, yes, 4. Okay, so I'm just kind of descending, and then yes, 6, and yes, 5. 6, and yes, 5. Okay, do I want to enter another value? No. Okay, and we get 7 again, which it is correct. Okay, that is 7. All right, cool. So let me clear this stuff out. Let me exit this, go over here, and close that. All right, so we've got that now. And, we could we could just do Q3 minus Q1, but let's create a function. We'll say that IQR equals median difference, because that's what it is, the median difference. And let's pass in Q1 and let's pass in Q3 into that function. And so now we need to write this function. Okay, keep it organized with functions. So create a function IQR, and you're going to pass in Q underscore 1 and Q underscore 3. Okay. And we'll say that the interquartile underscore range is equal to Q3 or Q underscore 3 minus Q underscore 1. Okay. And then we just want to return the interquartile range. Okay. And all right. And so now we're going to print an F string. So, which is a format string. So let's say the interquartile range of the data set is, and then we'll just do pass in IQR. Oh, whoops. I almost messed up here, because this function rather is called median difference. Okay. All right, but we're passing in a variable IQR, and we'll close out that print statement and save. And now let's open up a separate window. So we'll open up a window over here, jump over here, and run the terminal. And we're going to run the program. And let's go back to Math is Fun, and we'll take their first example and show you that this is working. If we haven't created any errors. So what's the next value you want to enter in the data list? Let's just go 8, 2, 7, 4, 6, 5, and 5. Okay, so we'll say 8. What's the next value? Do you want to enter another value? So, yep, 2. Do you want to enter another value? Yes. Let's go 7. Do you want to enter another value? Yes. Let's go 4. Do you want to enter another value? Yes. Let's go 6. Do you want to enter another value? Yes. 4. Do you want to enter another value? Yes. 5. And I think that's it. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 values. No. So the interquartile range of the data set is 3. And if you go down here, you'll see 7 minus 4 is 3. Makes sense. Okay. So that is my Python program on how to calculate interquartile range. It can be improved. We can have, with these questions, you can have exemption, basically error handling. I haven't had my coffee yet, I can't speak. But basically error handling. So if, for instance, right now with this program, the way it is, if I put in like a letter here or a number here, it might throw an error. So there's ways around that. I wanted to get the math out in this program. I may handle that in a future video. I'm sure I will. But for right now, we're just creating a program to find the interquartile range of a list. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, as it really helps the channel grow. And if you've already done so, I thank you, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.